We'll look at the term Foo Fighter, which are described as these white or very dark balls that followed these aircraft in World War II. So it was first used in the 19th century, um, and then it was used by Bill Holman, who saw it at the bottom of a Chinese figurine, and then it started to be used by 415th Night Fighter Squadron from his book Smoky Stover by Bill Holman. So it's got Foo signs everywhere in the book. And then the term was where there's Foo, there's fire. And they first describe them as being red balls of fire that appear to chase them. Okay. These are very similar to the red orb that I've had approach me, which I filmed also coming close to a rod which had a bright light at the end, which could be where it comes from. So these are alien, I think. This is the red ball of light, or orb, which is a common term used by Robert Bingham, and I have got this one recently over a year or so using telepathic summoning, the same position I do it on a Sydney beach. So I've got the red orb there, but this time it can switch off when you come towards it. So I had to walk up the hill and follow it. Disappeared. Finally, when I finished, I was very upset. I came back to that spot. It was nearly approaching sunset. I looked up and there it was, bright flashing red light. This time I caught it next to the rod, which looks like it's a mothership. I hate to use that word because that means flying saucer. That could be the original body that this red orb comes from, and it floats up there and waits for it to return. As crazy as it sounds, that's what I caught on camera. Now let's describe this dark Foo Fighter that approaches a SpaceX launch and the subsequent explosion. So it's called static fire anomaly. So from this YouTube posting, you can then obviously watch this very dark Foo Fighter approach. And this is frame by frame. You see it coming from the right side. And it's very round and dark, so it isn't a bird. Quite a few people have zoomed in on it and analysed it's a specific round shape. It isn't like flapping bird wings or anything like that. And when it comes very close, that's when the explosion occurs. So if it is a dark Foo Fighter, similar to World War II, it could have been highly charged. Here are some photos, World War II Foo Fighters. Normally they're white, and we do have some dark ones. There we go. So that's exactly the same type of shape that we've got here approaching the SpaceX launch in early 2016. So it looks like the alien intelligence were coming very close to the Allied airplanes and our military capability, which is exactly what's happening now with these airplane crashes, high performance military plane crashes that I've analysed. So here are some white Foo Fighters, and the original Foo Fighters were the red ones, which I have had come over me. So here's a drawing of what the red ones look like. The original ones were red balls of light. And even in the Concorde, we had a white one approach it. So these are all films from the pilots as well in the planes. And this was a very common phenomenon during World War II. Each side thought it was the other side's secret weapon. There we go. There's one following that plane there. That's dark as well. Exactly like our round one that came. And ours goes exactly horizontal. And just when it approaches the SpaceX, that's when we get that static explosion that they call a static explosion due to static electricity. So there it is as it comes closer. I've used a yellow arrow from the first one and the red one. So it's easy to look in between and see it every time. Now, in some videos, some people have been able to analyze this closer and clear it up, and it is a round, it's a definite dark round ball. There it is, and the explosion happens right there when it comes closer. I don't see any rays fired or anything like that, so it could have been highly charged, and that actually did cause a static electricity explosion because it could have been highly charged. There we zoom in some more. So it just seems very identical to the dark Foo Fighters that were filmed near the planes during World War II. And also, you have to remember, even during the Vietnam War, we had white balls of light come very close to the explosions and seem to analyze and watch these explosions. That would be the white Foo Fighters. It's as though our military capabilities are being watched, and also our flight technology, space flight, and also normal atmospheric supersonic flight. These orbs were present during the second plane flying towards the Twin Towers. So just as the plane is coming close, in the video you'll see these two orbs floating there. And that's the red orb I had approached me on my normal summoning site, and then it comes very close to a rod, and one side of the rod is very bright, so that's probably the part where it comes out of. So if we go back now to the photos, you've got the dark ones there, and some artist's impression of those red ones, which I think are the ones that I've had. So there's those red balls of light there. They're the ones that I've had a lot approach me now. So there's one more dark one at the end of the tail, and this looks remarkably like the one that flew over SpaceX launch early 2016 that subsequently exploded.